This is Calcat, the Calcatster. This is a slightly update the story. It's April 1st, and story inspired by the writings of Mom, but having nothing to do with anything she wrote. She passed away. She went to heaven, all that, today at about noon. It's not an April Fool's joke. She just decided to go on April 1st. She was 88. Yeah, she was in a facility, but hospice, dementia hospice. So she is so the story dedicated. This is Calcat, the Calcatster, also known by my real name, Adam Browne. So there was a little footage from the making of some of my Transformer and Star Trek films when Mom passed away on April 1st. And then there's a bit of some slide footage of just the memorial burial on the 13th on here. This is just a brief story of that, I guess, and I'm sure there will be other stories and discussions and things later. We'll see. But yeah, wanted to keep it brief. The kind of mama's boys, gotta go into the whole spiel. But later, maybe we will. Maybe it is Browne Video Productions channel, so we can totally do that if we want to. I don't think that there is going to be Calcat video of the actual May 11th memorial service. I think that's going to be all Sap One Productions doing that, and I'm just going to be there and stuff because after making the slideshows, handed it off to C3 Studios at the church and all that, C3 and all that. I also moved some other videos that weren't related to Browne Video Productions to another place because they didn't really make sense for those to be on this channel. So some other videos were moved around. There was a two-car garage one that was moved around, and there was a Grandma Nap novel thing that was moved to another channel because they didn't really fit on the channels they were on, so they were moved. That's all right. But yeah. Mom was extremely prolific in life as well, like I am. She tended to have a lot of emails and journals and things like that, of which they will not be published. They involve people that a lot of whom are still living. They are not going to be made into a Star Trek movie, so don't fear. Those of you out there like he's going to make a Star Trek. No, I'm not going to do that. To that, they're still living. That would be. And even if you weren't, I'm not gonna do that either. No, it's like yeah. Even if you gave permission, it'd be weird. It would just be weird. So be cringe, as the young people say. So yeah, she was 1/4 Italian, 1/4 Irish, and half Italian, and then the other half was mixed up, and there was a little Irish in there, a little French Canadian in there, a little other stuff. Northern Duluth, Minnesota, and during the 40s and 50s, born in 1936 on Valentine's Day, or thereabouts, very close to Valentine's Day. I think the day before, but we say it's Valentine's Day. So she liked Giants baseball after Grandpa Albert in the late 80s introduced it, the baseball. He liked the Minnesota Twins, of course. and ever since then, doing stuff like that. At the funeral, I mentioned that there was an adventure where back in the day when Barry Bonds was playing baseball, there was I mentioned this story. The park was new. The back then Pac Bell Park, and she did. There was batting practice going on, and there was an area where you could catch a ball if you happened to be on the outfield. We're in the outfield. We're on the other side of the fence. He bats a ball in the outfield, and 60-some-year-old mom dives like a baseball player catch, grabs that ball as it flew over the fence. I got a Barry Bonds ball, yes! Anyway, so, and Dan told a story about a story about like mom would play armchair umpire and curse at the TV, and so he just thought that's how the players' names were the curses, that the names. I'm not gonna say what the curses were, but yes, we're gonna keep this PG, since the channel is PG. But it was funny. So we have a service on May 11th. But yeah, she wrote a lot of emails and emails. Things looked through it. She kept a duplicate volume of all of the stuff online, even though a lot of the live paper versions of stuff got thrown away. She kept copies, so we have the copies. We're gonna keep the copies. No one's getting the copies. I get the copies. Yeah, it's all there. So, yeah, and the earlier stuff from the 80s and 90s, that was part of On Location, so that's already around. But the On Location that's on Amazon, the storybooks don't include those stories. They were cut out. We didn't include the Christmases and the drama and all that. I cut that out because I didn't want to identify people and change their names. Didn't want to identify people under those pseudonyms. So that's not in there. That's over there on Amazon. It doesn't have no holiday drama. She liked the holiday drama, or most of those stories that she actually has a little holiday drama. She liked fretting over Thanksgiving and stuff, and she liked fretting over Christmas, and not so much Easter. Ironically, she went on April Fool's Day on April 1st, so we have an oddity there. So now that it's the 27th, I thought to come back and that little snippet there and show that, and add to that a little bit of what's going on in the channel and update it because it's just an update. So yeah, the church is doing a service, but she really wasn't into the church so much. She was. Ever since Dad passed away in 2009, she stopped really attending. She started attending again toward the end there because, well, it was. I'm going to go to church because I'm a recovering Catholic. She said, "I'm going to go to church." So she went to church. So there you go. And the women's Bible study and stuff. She said the wise ones was too old for her, well, which is ironic because, again, her sense of humor. The idea being that, when she was in her late 40s, she and Grandma Knapp helped start the Wise Ones back in the 1970s. So it seemed only appropriate that she go back there, but she didn't want to do that. She thought it was too cliche. So it's right there. She liked cooking. Mom liked cooking, making lasagnas and stuff like that. During the year or so that she was in at-home hospice, and then I had to learn how to cook, so I kind of can cook her lasagna. I kind of can cook pasta and burgers and stuff like that. I don't very much, just because I'm kind of lazy about that. But hopefully, but yes. But the whole idea of doing memorial service and stuff like that. Dad from passed away in 2009 was more of an audio-visual learner. Like, I gotta do stuff, I gotta be creative, do that thing, engineering and stuff. Mom was micromanaging things. She was more of I'm gonna put things in compartments and set them up, and that whole head nurse at Northrop Grumman thing. Dad was AT&T, Western Electric, and then AT&T, and also mayor of Milpitas a couple of times. councilman. She was the first lady of Milpitas a couple of times. And, yeah, yeah, you might think that Park Victoria Drive in Milpitas is named for Queen Victoria from England, but no, that's Mom Street. So that's the Victoria in Park Victoria Drive, just and there's Bob Browne Park. That was right over there, and I'm not going to identify where that all is, but there, because the internet and weirdos will show up at that, and they'll migrate over to the North and South Park Victoria. But yes, it's named after Mom. So yeah, there's like there's goofy stuff. So but yeah, I remember back then, we were. But yes, they liked Star Trek. It was on in the '60s. They were here when Star Trek premiered. They watched it on TV. I watched it since I was like 3 or 4 years old. So yeah, Star Trek was a big deal, especially the reruns, original classic. So yeah, Star Trek and the Transformers in the '80s, Robotech and all that. They were there for all that. They were part of that. So it was like, yeah. And there's a loosely related, long dead cousin who was on the original Star Trek, Katie Browne, apparently, and with an E, and she was she was in Wink of an Eye. I thought it was the other lady from the other of the Apple, but no, This Side of Paradise. No, it was the Wink of an Eye lady, the shapeshifter, the one that was going through time rapidly. No. Anyway, so yeah, that's no distant cousin. Oh God. So we have I've always been a writer, storyteller, creator stories and things like that. I was never math oriented, obviously autistic, on the spectrum, but not like that Rain Man movie. I don't like that Rain Man movie because it's not accurate. He was a savant. It's different, most autistics don't have savant qualities. They just have a gift for one or two things they can focus on. It's savant qualities. No. but yes. Yeah. She would gather things along and do other things. The hospice thing during the after the pandemic. So it was after the pandemic. Everybody got it again, the thing that was going around. But she got it less, but there was medication and stuff because she was vaccinated, of course. So was I. And then there were other things that happened, medication-wise, concerning her health in the Kaiser medical system, that some of her meds that she's on all kinds of meds because she had cancer 3 times. She was a cancer survivor, and breast cancer, she had it in the 90s, and then in colon cancer in 2015, and breast cancer, the other one, in 2018. And so there was a lot of us doing stuff to recover from that, so there were other things going on, but she never. She was always fighting it constantly. Dad fought non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer for 18 years, and then succumbed to it in 2009 at 83. He would be 100 now if he was alive, almost 100. 98 if he was, but no. but yeah. So carrying on the legacy of the thing and doing the legacy fan films was a lot of fun, and we're going to do a 3rd Star Trek one over there. We did 3 Transformer ones. They're all therapeutic. Why not do some stuff in the tradition of Mom out there and have that out there? That's cool. But it's fan films as if she was helping to write them. I thought that would be kind of fun. So instead of there being like releasing, not really scandalous at all, but the email things, because that's silly, make stories that are in the tradition of, which is perfectly acceptable. Also, ADHD and attention deficit is different, and ADD and ADHD are different. They're the opposite of those two. You can't form a full sentence if it's really severe. They can't come up with a complete thought if it's really severe. And sometimes in older people, adult ADHD leads to Alzheimer's and dementia. Sometimes, not all the time. It's a spectrum like the other thing is. Doesn't always mean it's not black and white, it's gray. It could, and in her case, it led to dementia because she had adult ADHD. She didn't have it when she was younger. She was just a little forgetful and just a little disoriented. But she worked for 30 years at Northrop Grumman. Dad worked at the city and all that. But he didn't have anything. I don't think. I think he was just normal. I don't think he had anything. Grandma Knapp may have been a little bit on the spectrum. May have been just a little bit on the autism spectrum. But it was so little that it was minor, so it's fine. Very creative, kind of similar to me. Grandma Knapp was writing stories, books and things, and poems and things like that. And some of the medications she was on after some other ailments that were similar, but probably not the pandemic. Probably weren't. It was something else. Probably the medications being too much. She had some sort of an episode that led to her going even further down the road, and then Dan and his family took her in up to Roseville to be in the convalescent dementia facility. She was diagnosed with dementia. It wasn't early onset. She's in her 80s, which is dementia. Straight up, she was losing faculties very quickly. And she was up there for 8 months, almost a year, another year. So there were some moments of clarity, though. There were moments of, like, her coming in with she'd gone to her printer and printed up stacks of paper. She'd found a conspiracy or something. It wasn't. She was just... It wasn't a conspiracy at all. She's reams of paper with nonsense on them and stuff like that. Later emails, nonsense on them. It doesn't make any sense. You can tell that a lot of the later, you won't be able to tell because you're not going to get to see them published. But there were like later emails where we would help write the email, and it was clearly me writing it or my sister writing it, and it wasn't her. You can kind of tell that writing style isn't that similar. You're like, okay, she interjected this stuff that doesn't make sense that Mom would ever say that, or be that cogent. That would be me doing the cogent, going through the editing of it and changing and making the grammar make sense. That'd be me doing that. It was a cut to the last 2 years. It was a mess. Here we are. And I just had to go on a little information about this character. She didn't make movies of herself. She didn't do much of herself. She did appear on the Cal Cat show during the review section. She would be the interrupting person in the Cal Cat show. She loved that. She would deliberately wait until the part where I was discussing some really exciting part of the movie, and she'd pop in and just like... That was all part of the act. Incident. That was part of the... Wow. She liked that. I'm going to do like they used to do on the Caution show. I'm just going to show up and randomly... Okay. Show up randomly. All right. Cool. It was all part of the story. It was great. The most poignant, heartfelt one was that one where I was just messing around with a guitar. I learned some chords from somebody at the church and some other people that I was like... I did some of the other people could play, and I was doing I'm just messing around doing chords on the scenes of Jackass, and it was like, she's always popping in and stuff. It was almost like a TV sitcom situation where you have the main character deciding, I'm going to come out again, and I'm going to do that sketch that I always do, but this time I'm going to walk into the room and sit down on the bed and join them in a song. Just sure, okay, that's what we're gonna do. That'd be hilarious. It was one of the more poignant episodes of the show. It's like, okay, this is sort of the reveal of that offstage character walking in and doing stuff. They did that on Big Bang Theory too with the Olowitz's mother. They'd have her not say anything, she'd be off camera. That's what she's doing. She understood the craft of setting up a scene and doing a gag. You can watch in these Browne video production movies, she has natural comedic timing. Just like boom, like I don't, yeah, and I'm not going to compile a movie best of hits because Blessings Attained and some of those other episodes on here, the Christmas ones, those were a favorite. They're all there, so you can watch them. They're all online, so go for it. Watch them. Very exciting. It's your comic timing. He and Dad had natural comic timing, natural chemistry. There was just a even later on. They were like, let's do this thing, and the cathartic thing, and it's coming on the set. Oh, I don't even know what I'm singing here. What is this? Oh, it's the theme to Jackass. Is that okay? Oh, maybe I'll do the Dukes of Hazzard theme. You remember that? Okay, do the Dukes of Hazzard. Do the Dukes of Hazzard theme. Sort of. It was not Waylon Jennings at all. It was really bad. But it was funny. It's not supposed to be good. If it was really good, it would have been like, oh, okay, well, no, it's not Waylon Jennings. But it wasn't really good. Well, that kind of stuff. You just need, yeah, she had a kind of natural comic timing. Taught me the comic timing. And other people taught me the comic timing. I have assimilated your species, Captain. To have the. It's not that Asperger people can't figure out how to emulate comic timing. They can learn, obviously. And I think, honestly, my stuff has really good dialogue and character and representation. I'm sure there'll be other stories and anecdotes at the other thing. But I want them to film that so I can be in it. The trouble with a lot of these Browne video productions things is that I was mainly the cameraman, the director, so it's like I didn't get to be in it very much. I was like cameos, which is the reverse of that gag with him coming in the door. But yes, what's it live? You live it, yeah. Some of the relatives had it in the Midwest. Aunt Martha before me, who was also a Star Trek fan and a gambler. Well, she loved Vegas and gambling too. She loved to go to Vegas. Aunt Martha and Uncle John, Dad's sister, used to winter in Vegas. They hated the Chicago summers in Vegas. They would go down to, in the winter, they would go down to Vegas for like 6 months. And they learned how to get really good. And they were like in their, Aunt Martha in her early 80s. Cleaned out a blackjack table, which was hilarious. But that's not a mom story. That's an Aunt Martha story. My mom did have a couple of Royal Flush stories that were amusing, though. Poker machines and stuff. She'd play the pokers. And like at one point, I think it was Grandma Nap and Dad, and there was that's a Royal Flush. That's a Royal Flush. So, oh, you won a Royal Flush. That was one of the stories. Oh, dang. Oh, that's a high score on that particular game. Oh, I also she taught the wise ones how to play cards. But yes, it's pretty fine. Well, she was an evil influence, and then on the wise ones. And she was younger than all the other ones because she was the host at the house. There was hosting here years ago, believe it or not. But yeah, so so yeah, she liked cats, not so much dogs. She was okay with dogs, but she liked cats. So her cats, I have her cats. Houdini and Abracadabra are fine. Houdini is almost 10, and Abracadabra are almost 16. So yeah, so they're getting up there, so they're still around. But yeah, so yeah, I just thought I would chime in and say the backstory of this character, who isn't in the movies so much. He did the bit parts in the stories, and always has probably the best lines in the series, really, of the others. Second only to my sister Martha, who comes in and does the other lines, but usually the laugh out loud lines you don't really remember as much as you remember the weird little cameos. What do? but yeah, yeah. I mean, so yeah, the yeah, we were always camera ham oriented stuff. Her mom's mother on her side was a sort of a diva. Sarah takes after her more than and then Grandma. She takes after Doris, Grandma Doris from Mom's side of the family. Diva. Yeah, we're all kind of divas though. We're all yeah, the camera hams. The whole family camera hams and loud. From the beginning, there isn't a withering flower among us. Extremely loud. Also, Mom was a little hard of hearing. Then, as she got older, a lot hard of hearing. And needed extra things and things, hearing devices. And yeah, so the TV would be blaring that really. If it was good or bad information right into her skull, that probably didn't help too much either for other stuff. Not saying it caused anything, it just didn't help very much. Also, there's the premise of, well, some other family members had the Alzheimer's and dementia as well. Uncle Roy on Grandma Knapp's side, and then Aunt Martha. But there was more. I think there was more cancer. Like Aunt Roseanne died in '85. There was more cancer, the lymphoma and stuff like that. There's probably a gene for that, maybe, and other people have it. But yes, Mom lived to 88 years old and did have a February sort of a pseudo birthday after the December pseudo birthday. Over there was a pseudo Christmas. There was a couple other visits. There was sort of a half visit, and then there was another. And 2 days before she died, it was Easter week. I narrated my. I took her. She goes for walks with a walker and then a wheelchair all around the park. So I narrated that to her. She lay in the bed, nearly comatose, yeah. So I don't know if she heard any of it, but anyway. So well, yeah, I described the sun going down and all that. Yeah, and I didn't have any roses on the rose bush, but now there are roses on the rose bush because they bloomed. So they just weren't blooming back then, weeks ago. The weather wasn't right. There's been a lot of cool weather lately, so it kind of kicked the rose bush into bloom. Yeah. but anyways, that doesn't. She used to garden and stuff. Obviously not. She fell a couple times too, so she broke her hip, and that's what caused her to be in the hospital as well. In addition to that, the other stuff is going on. The cancer deflection meds and whatever. In addition to the broke her hip 2 years ago. So yeah, that didn't help. So yeah, there we go. A little over a year and a half ago, I guess. Yeah, the timeline's a little weird. Yeah. So yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years. Anyway, so yeah, yeah. Anyway, that is Mom backstory coming down. Mom backstory. Remember back in the day, they used to watch the Johnny Carson show. It became the Jay Leno show, and several others later. And there was a talent episode where there was a. Yeah, I didn't really like Johnny Carson as a kid because I didn't get the humor at the time. I didn't assimilate it and understand. You know, she liked Johnny Carson. She liked Frank Sinatra and the Chairman of the Board and all that stuff. They were Sicilians. Sinatra, Sicilian. She didn't listen to our grandmother's advice. But yeah, her mother Doris was also a diva, and there's a picture that will never be released of her grandma Doris wearing a leopard print cat outfit. It's hilarious, but we'll never get to see it. It's funny because it doesn't involve Mom; it involves the very late Grandma Doris trying to be a star in Duluth, Minnesota. Yeah, she wasn't. Grandma Knapp, she was a star on the Chautauqua circuits in the 30s. So. But that's different. That's on Dad's side of the family. She was actually kind of famous. And met, opened for Kate Smith, the God Bless America lady. So yeah. But that's Grandma Knapp on Dad's side. That's yeah. You watch Blessings Deferred, Blessings Attained, you learn about that. But that yeah, there's not a lot of backstory of Mom out there. It's just the story is the story. Those videos, things of her in it, is the story. Yeah, they're doing a movie about that. Would be a recompilation movie. Would be kind of the same as the other one, because it was so much Mom and Dad. That why do more than a couple slideshows? I was like, that's what I got. Yeah, it was like TV. The world was like a 90s to 2000s sitcom. We were sort of a weird version of we were sort of reality TV before reality TV, and then on into reality TV. We were a stage, a show, a performance, but we were all real, unlike reality TV, which is ironic. Yeah, we were real world Milpitas. Oh yeah, on May 11th at the chapel thing, the church. We have a crossover between the studio and the other one, doing the church, where I'm in it, but I'm not actually filming it. So why would you want to, film that? If you, no need. Somebody can film it if they want to, but the church can't. We'll release the church video of it. Have them film it. Yeah, put it up online. Browne Productions. Yeah, so mom's dry wit. Singular wit. No, not dry wit. I would say outgoing Klingon-like wit. Like, with glorious belly laughs. And sometimes Italian wine. Short and small. I keep going on about my stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what it was. The diva. World diva is... well, Mom stuff. I'm going to stop this now before I ramble on about other movies that nothing to do with Mom. So, yeah.